Hello, welcome back to Creeping It Colorful. This is Sinister Saturday. We made one at least. I'm going to be coloring out of the Beauty of Horror 3 book, which is Haunted Playgrounds. It's a new book that I got in the mail through Facebook Marketplace, so I was really happy with that one. Really like to get all those books, but hey, we deal with what we got, right? Okay, now Mark's going to read a story out of the what was that called? Unsolved Deaths book.
Strange deaths
While
and mysterious disappearances.
while I color here, and then when he's done, then we recap, and I keep coloring for a little bit. There you go.
Alrighty. So, accident or murder? Good detectives look closely at accidental deaths. Are they something more than they initially appear to be? Does identifying them as an accident cover up the fact that they were something else, or even a murder? And some notable deaths, inconvenient or unpleasant facts cast doubt on the accidental verdict. The second Norman king of England, William II, is said to have been shot by accident while hunting in the New Forest in 1100. While medieval hunting was certainly dangerous, the shooter was a highly skilled marksman who would surely not have taken a dangerous shot. What's more, William's brother, the future King Henry I, immediately had himself crowned, suggesting to some that the so-called accident was an assassination ordered by Henry. In 1959, George Reeves, famous as TV's Superman, but reputedly ambitious for movie roles and depressed at the way his career was going, is said to have been shot in his bedroom in Los Angeles. But there are conflicting stories about what happened. Even from those involved, and the ballistics evidence doesn't seem to add up. Was he alone in the bedroom? Was he murdered? Other Hollywood deaths, such as that of movie maker and actress Thomas Ince, the father of the Western, and Natalie Wood, star of classic movies, seem to be more complicated than the accidents they appear to be at first. Indeed, some cases, such as Wood's, have been reopened and remain under scrutiny. Was the father of the Western shot? Date November 19th, 1924, Los Angeles, California. Did pioneering movie maker and actor Thomas H. Ince, I-N-C-E, die of natural causes, or was he accidentally shot on board newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst's luxury yacht? Thomas, the movie star, director, and pioneer producer known as the father of the Western, was guest of honor aboard newspaper William Randolph Hearst's 280-foot yacht, the Oneida, on November 16th, 1924. The celebrity party was marking his 44th birthday, and a deal under which Hearst Cosmopolitan Productions would use Williams' Hollywood studio for filming. William had to break up the social gathering. He was rushed ashore, reportedly suffering from severe indigestion, and died 3 days later at home in Los Angeles, officially due to a heart attack. On board the yacht at the time were global movie star Charlie Chaplin, British author and scriptwriter Eleanor Glynn, actress including Margaret Livingston and Julian Johnston, and Hurt's mistress, the actress Marion Davies. Overheated rumors were soon circulating about what had happened. According to one, Hearst had caught Marion Davis and Charlie Chaplin in intimate relations and then shot. I don't know how to say his name. Ince. They keep saying I-N-C-E. His first name was William. Why they keep calling him Ince for? Anyway, then shot Ince, having mistaken him for Chaplin. Okay. The rumor mill. Chaplin's personal valet apparently saw Ince being carried ashore on a stretcher at San Diego and said he had a bullet wound in his head. This tidbit circulated among the Japanese domestic workers in Beverly Hills. What's more, the story goes that the morning edition of the Los Angeles Times for Wednesday, November 19th read, "Movie producer shot in Hearst yacht," but the headline had vanished by the time the evening edition came out. The Hearst-owned newspaper reported that Ince had been taken ill at Hearst's home, the famous San Simeon Castle. Other wild rumors suggested that Hearst had poisoned Ince, had him killed by a professional assassin, or even stabbed him with a hat pin in the heart. Ince's body was cremated. Some later saw this as grist for rumor mill, since the cremation meant the body could not be examined for evidence of bullet wounds or poison. Ince and his wife Eleanor, or Nell, were committed theosophists, members of an historic religious philosophical group who believed in cremation among many other things and had agreed long before his death that he should be cremated. There's also a story that Hearst set up a trust fund for Nell Ince and paid off the mortgage on a Los Angeles apartment she owned. But there was no truth in this, since Nell already owned the apartment in question before her husband's death and would not have needed a trust fund because her husband's death left her an independent, very wealthy woman. The stories about Ince's death rather overshadowed his reputation for posterity, but he was a highly significant movie pioneer, responsible for more than 800 movies, including Custer's Last Fight, 1912, The Italian, 1915, and Civilization, 1916. And for creating the first Hollywood studio, Inceville, he also developed the movie producer role. Oh yeah, 1912, 15, 16, I remember that. After Ince's death, another rumor circulated to the effect that Louella Parsons, later a celebrated movie columnist, was on board the Oneida, and that her rise to stardom, supported by Hearst, who gave her a lifetime contract to write for his newspapers, was driven by a deal she cut with Hearst to hush up the events on the yacht. And Ince's death, this has been shown to be false, for she had been hired the year before by Hearst's New York American newspaper as motion picture editor. Case of angina. It seems we will never know for sure what happened on board the Oneida. The likeliest explanation seems to be that Einz did indeed fall ill and die of natural causes. Eyewitnesses, including Nell herself, reported this. Another pointer is that the Los Angeles Times reported that at Einz's memorial service, his casket was open for an hour to give friends and loved ones the chance to say their farewells, and not one mentioned any sign of a bullet wound in his head. Nell said Einz needed treatment for very bad chest pains resulting from angina, while the couple's son, William, who later became a practicing medic, said he thought Einz's illness seemed like thrombosis. According to Adela Rogers St. John's, a writer and friend of the Einz's, Nell later said, "Do you think I would have done nothing if I even suspected that my husband had been victim of foul play?" So, strange stories. In conclusion, the stories about Einz's death have been given new life by fictional treatments. Hearst's granddaughter, Patricia Hearst, published with co-author Cordelia Frances Biddle, a 1996 mystery novel, Murder at San Simeon. They cast Charlie Chaplin and Marion Hearst as lovers, and Hearst as a jealous older man. Then, in 2001, revered director Peter Bogdanovich made The Cat's Meow, a dramatization of the events on board the Oneida. In this movie, Hearst mistakenly shoots Einz, thinking he is Chaplin, when he finds him sitting talking with Davies. Hearst has the dying Einz taken off the boat at San Diego. Another part of the Einz myth is played out in the movie. Luella Parsons witnesses the event and trades her silence for a lifetime contract as a gossip columnist for Hearst newspapers. Hearst is played by Edward Herman, Davies by Kristen Dunst, Einz by Carrie Elwes, and Parsons by Jennifer Tilly. Bogdanovich did not write the screenplay, which was by playwright Stephen Pelrose, but in publicity about the movie, it was reported he had gotten the lowdown on what happened on board the yacht from no less a figure than movie maker Orson Welles, who had heard it from screenwriter Charles Lerner, a nephew of Marion Davies herself. The end. Yeah. Then there's the how did Superman die? We could do that one next time. Jimi Hendrix, was he murdered?
We did that one.
Jimi Hendrix?
I think we did.
I don't know about that. How did Natalie Wood really die? Did Bollywood actress Divya Bharti jump, or was she pushed? Was Rodney Mark's death the first murder at the South Pole? Oh.
All right. I don't know what to recap because there's a lot there at the end. It just keeps rambling. So I'm not sure what I need to recap on, except that it seems that most celebrities' deaths are questioned or were questioned back in the day because of circumstances and rumors. So they may not be solved deaths, but there are a lot of ideas on how people had been either fell sick or caught doing things they shouldn't be doing and caught in triangles and or things that are illegal. So it's just always a matter of circumstance and whether or not those things are actually they actually held any truth. So, guess there will always be that issue of when someone who's in the spotlight one way or another, if their deaths are ever really resolved. The only ones that can be are the ones that were medical, things that they were diagnosed with before and it was inevitable that they would pass. So this book kind of covers the ones that were questionable. And as Mark said, we got quite a few other ones that are in question that we might be able to squeeze in more than one again next Saturday for Sinister Saturday. Now to what I'm doing is doing the fence here at this amusement park one. This is haunted amusement. Haunted, I think. Let me get back here. Haunted Playgrounds, Beauty of Horror. So, this little girl here, her name is Guliana. If you didn't already know that. And she's the main character. And this picture I picked for June. I picked it because of a kind of summer theme. People go to amusement parks in the summertime. And this was one of my favorite rides. I always like to sit way up here in the back. That was when you get your best tummy tickle. And my one grandson, he just would not go on this ride with me. He just was, nope, I'm not doing it. Okay. And then I'd get my Daredevil one to go on. But it was a fun ride. Called the Ghost Ship. The pirate ship. And I think the actual one at the Knoebels where we would go here in PA was actually, they made a double one where they would swing like this next to each other. So that was a whole new different ride. But you guys have any favorite amusement rides that you remember? That you always would be a go-to when you go to the park? There were actually people, I was on a group page, Facebook page for Knoebels Amusements. I always like to be on that so that we could get updates on new rides or new special days. When you go, you get so many. It's a park that's free to get in. You just have to pay for your food if you or you can just bring your food and picnic there. Then all you would have to pay for are souvenirs if that's the way you wanted to go, or get food tickets. And these tickets, if you would buy them and you'd have some left over, you could use them the next year, and the next year they never expire. But it's free admission to the park, so the rides and the food are by ticket, or sometimes they even have specials where they have hand stamps. So on this Facebook page, there were actually people who had a goal of how many times they'd be going on the roller coasters that year. And there were some really wicked numbers of people that would do that. So they would make it like a thing every year. Well, I went on this ride 25 times. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of money. Hope you got a ride pass. It can get a little pricey. And so, they even allow you to purchase tickets, those kind of tickets, throughout the year. And you could give them as Christmas presents or Easter presents or whatever. And that was a cool thing, because you could accumulate a lot of tickets. Then by the time you go there, you've got all these tickets and you're not really spending any money to have fun. So I know when I was growing up, my parents it was a thing to go there every year, and I continued the tradition with my kids. And then there for a while we would do that with our grandkids. And I would, get them tickets. So you always had the ability to take those tickets, go into play. When you go into Playland, that was like an amusement. Not yeah, amusement. Duh. It was like a arcade, but it was basically where you go in and you play skee ball, different games like they would push coins, there would be grabby machines, all different kinds of things in there. I think I got the same color. I think I might have grabbed the same color. Let me look here. I'll look to see which one's which here. I think I'll use this little one here. Anyway, you accumulate, when you play these games, you accumulate the Playland tickets, which are also, you can save up year after year, and then when you go back, if there's a prize that you really like, then you already had a head start on winning tickets and accumulating tickets for that prize. So yeah, that was a yearly thing for us. But I don't know that that's going to happen too much anymore, because if that would be the case, then it would just be Mark and I going by ourselves. When my son came to visit from Wyoming, we all went to Knoebels for a day. So he was able to take his fiance and her 2 girls and show him his childhood amusement park. So they had fun coming all the way from Wyoming and enjoying that. I still have some tickets, and every now and then I find tickets. Like I have found some in a junk drawer. I found some in a little baggie. It's like I used to go and get pressed pennies. They had pressed pennies. It would cost you 51 cents to get a pressed penny. You put 2 quarters and a nice shiny penny in the pressed penny machine, and it would press out different aspects of the park. It would feature like their wooden roller coaster, or the Phoenix roller coaster, or the haunted house, or the ghost ship, or different things. And yeah, that was my thing, because they would change some of the pressed penny designs every year. And then in the fall, they would also have where you could, they have a fall theme at the park. I don't know if the rides are open or if it's just all themed Halloweenish. I've never been there during that time of year, but that would be a fun thing to do. But my mom used to love doing this game called Fascination, and you'd sit and you'd roll the balls. You'd pay so much. You put a quarters in or whatever in the machine, it would drop the balls, and then when they'd sound an alarm, everybody would start rolling the balls, and the first one to get bingo with these balls would get so many tickets, and it would go off of how many people were playing. And you could get some really nice prizes when you hand in those tickets. So I always used to get, when I was younger, and I'd go, I wouldn't say, like in my 20s or whatever, if we would go, I would always get Christmas presents for my family there. You can get personalized items like with names on and stuff. So I always like to get some Christmas presents when I'd go. And then I'd already have Christmas presents in the summertime. So I was ahead of the game. As I got older, I kind of fell under the bus. I used to be able to get all my Christmas shopping done before October. Not now anymore. Well, when I had grandkids to buy for, it was like scrambling because they always had such lists. My one grandson though, he's pretty minimal. My oldest, he would only ask for like 2 or 3 things on his Christmas list. So he was an easy one to buy for because he never asked for much. But now I'm just getting for the one in Wyoming. I get for the other ones too, but I just have to put them away in a box until one day they can open them all up. But that's neither here nor there. So, anywho, this is a pretty cool book. I like all the different things they have in it. Different themes, different ride themes. I can do just a quick from here on to the front. Some of the ideas. There's a clown. I'm not actually knowing what he's doing, but that's kind of a weird one. Let me see if I can find some other. Here's another one with a roller coaster. Here, let me get you that you can see the entire pages here. This one here is a double page spread of a roller coaster. The funny mirrors. I remember those. They were always in the fun house. Always made you look silly. That's like the teacups. Oh, I got a story about teacups. When my oldest grandson was really little. He was about maybe around 2 years old, I believe. And we had gone to the park, and these teacups were supposed to be for a kiddie ride, right? So you go in there, and you're sitting around in here, and in the middle there's this wheel, and if you pull the wheel, it just spins you. Well, this was a wicked butt ride, I'll tell you. It was Mark and me and Bethany and Justice, and I think we all fit. There was pretty many of us in the thing. I think Brian and his wife at the time was there also. So we're all sitting in here, and poor Justice was sitting there. He's so little. I mean, he was getting from one side to the other side, because they kept spinning the wheel. And he's like, his eyes were getting huge, and we're all laughing and carrying on, and he's like petrified. We felt bad afterwards. And then the next year when we went there, it was like he did not want to go. I have a picture of him, and maybe next Saturday, if I can find that picture of his face, because the ride didn't even start, and they had him in there between, I think it was between my daughter and my son, and he was sitting in between there, and he's like, "Get me out of here," look on his face. So if I can find that one, I'll have to show you some of the amusement rides that we went on and stuff there. There was also one that tilted you upside down. That was another crazy one. Look at this clown caravan. That's funny. But yeah, this is Dunk the Dead. Throw a head and dunk the dead. They're throwing the head to dunk them. But yeah, this is a spoof on like circus theme and kind of carousel. There's carousel amusement park. There's Freak Show, the Lioness Freak Show, the Sword Queen. So this is a pretty cool book. It's got a spoof on a lot of amusement park things. So this is going to be a fun one to complete. Remember, you always had to be this tall to ride type of things? Yeah, that's crazy too. Scream machine, yeah, and the entrance to the park. So yeah, this is a fun one, but I wanted to start off doing my favorite ride. I already completed one yesterday, and that was this one I picked out for this month. I completed, and it was a bat and a hot dog roll. Well, I made the hot dog roll moldy, and of course the clowns in the background, and I made the smoky from the grill, make him a overly burnt bat dog. for a zombie to try to eat, but I don't think the zombie's gonna like that too much. And he's got, that's not, you know, that's not ketchup, right? And so, yeah, it's a special sauce, a special bat dog, bat dog. I should say bat dog. Hot bat in a roll. Yeah, so that was that. This is the first page that I've done in this book, and I did a little of this because it's always around Memorial Day when parks and stuff like that open up around here in Pennsylvania. We don't have that all around deal like in Florida and California and some places, and we don't have that nice weather for all the way around, all year round. So most of our start Memorial Day weekend are the openings, and then Labor Day weekends is like the last big hoorah before we start going into the fall weather. So yeah, so I shall leave this one be basically, and we can maybe finish this one. If I don't finish this one off camera today, and maybe we'll finish this one next Saturday, and then I'll show you the picture of my poor petrified grandson and some of the amusement park rides we took. So I would like to thank you for stopping by and listening to the stories. I hope that was interesting to you, and I'm pretty sure you guys had the same ideas about famous people's demises, where they are sometimes unsolved for reasons. There's always a conspiracy theory for something or other, right? Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. If you have, thank you so much, and stay happy, stay healthy, stay colorful, stay creepy, stay true to yourself, stay kind, and stay tuned for the next video. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.